Deep within the heart of what we now know as Nigeria lay a kingdom of immense power and extraordinary artistry. The Benin Kingdom, a beacon of civilization, thrived for centuries, its people, its culture, its very essence interwoven with the dense rainforest that surrounded it. The Benin bronzes, masterpieces of metalwork, stand today in museums across the globe, a testament to the sophistication of this lost world. Yet the story of Benin is not one of unblemished triumph. In 1897, the tranquility of the Benin Kingdom was shattered by a British expedition driven by colonial ambition. For centuries, the Kingdom of Benin had exerted its influence over a vast swath of West Africa. Its Oba, revered as a divine ruler, held sway over a complex network of trade routes connecting the interior with the coast. Ivory, palm oil, and pepper flowed outwards, traded for goods from distant lands. The arrival of European powers on the West African coast in the 15th century had brought about a seismic shift in the region's dynamics. The Kingdom of Benin, however, had resisted this encroachment, maintaining its independence and fiercely guarding its sovereignty. But the British, driven by the insatiable demands of the Industrial Revolution, were becoming increasingly assertive in their dealings with African kingdoms. Tensions began to simmer as the British sought to impose their will upon the Kingdom of Benin. In January of 1897, a British expeditionary force, under the command of Acting Consul General James Phillips, set sail from the coastal protectorate of Lagos. Their destination, Benin City, the heart of the kingdom they sought to subdue. Phillips, a man of ambition and unwavering belief in British imperial might, carried with him a letter for the Oba of Benin, a seemingly innocuous request for an audience. The journey up the Benin River was fraught with difficulty. Unbeknownst to Phillips, his arrival in Benin coincided with a sacred period in the Benin calendar, a time when the Oba and his chiefs were engaged in religious ceremonies. Phillips, however, either ignorant of or indifferent to these cultural sensitivities, pressed on, his resolve unwavering. On January 4, 1897, the British expedition, ignoring all warnings, marched towards the city, met with fierce resistance from Benin warriors. The Benin warriors, armed with muskets and swords, fought bravely against the superior firepower of the British. The battle for Benin City was short and brutally one-sided. The British, their advance relentless, fought their way into the heart of the city, their path marked by fire and destruction. The palace complex, a sprawling testament to Benin's artistic and cultural heritage, was soon engulfed in flames. As the city burned, British soldiers looted homes and temples, seizing the famed Benin bronzes. The Oba of Benin, Oba Ovenramwen, realizing the futility of further resistance, fled the burning city with his family and retainers. The fall of Benin City marked a turning point in the history of the kingdom, a moment of profound loss and transformation. In the aftermath of the battle, as smoke still curled from the ruins of Benin City, a different kind of assault began, the systematic looting of its cultural heritage. British soldiers stripped the palace walls of their intricate bronze plaques, plundered shrines and storehouses, making off with carved ivory tusks, intricately woven textiles, and ceremonial objects. These treasures, torn from their context and stripped of their cultural significance, were packed into crates and shipped across the sea. The presence of these stolen artifacts in Western institutions has sparked a long-standing debate about cultural repatriation, a debate that continues to this day. The fall of Benin City did not mark the end of the violence. In the days and weeks that followed, the British unleashed a reign of terror upon the surrounding countryside. Villages were razed, crops destroyed, and countless innocent civilians caught in the crossfire. One of the most horrific chapters unfolded in the village of Udo, where a group of Benin chiefs had gathered, seeking to negotiate a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The British, their minds poisoned by paranoia, saw only treachery in their gestures of peace and opened fire on the unarmed chiefs. The massacre at Udo sent shockwaves through the remnants of the Benin Kingdom, a chilling reminder of the brutality of the invaders. Following the fall of Benin City, Oba Ovenramwen, the once all-powerful ruler of the Benin Kingdom, found himself a hunted fugitive in his own land. For months, he evaded the clutches of the British, his movements shrouded in secrecy. his spirit unbroken despite the hardships he endured. The British, however, were relentless in their pursuit. Finally, in August of 1897, worn down by months of hiding and betrayed by those he had once trusted, Oba Ovenramwen surrendered to the British. He was stripped of his royal regalia, his dignity further trampled upon by his captors. He was put on trial by the British, a sham proceeding designed to legitimize their conquest and to humiliate a fallen king. Found guilty by his accusers, Oba Ovenramwen was exiled to Calabar, where he would spend the rest of his days far from his homeland. The physical destruction of Benin City, the looting of its treasures, and the exile of its king were just the most visible manifestations of a more insidious form of violence: the systematic dismantling of Benin's cultural heritage. The British, driven by a potent mix of arrogance and ignorance, viewed Benin's culture and traditions through a distorted lens of colonial superiority. Sacred groves, revered for centuries as places of worship and spiritual significance, were desecrated and destroyed. Shrines were dismantled, their idols toppled and defaced. Ritual objects, imbued with deep religious meaning, were dismissed as primitive fetishes and carted off as curiosities for display in Western museums. The British sought to impose their own values and beliefs on the conquered population, dismantling the very fabric of Benin society. The impact of this cultural assault was devastating, severing the ties that bound the Benin people to their past, their ancestors, and their traditions. The British invasion of 1897 sent shockwaves through every facet of Benin society. The once well-ordered kingdom, with its intricate social structures and its rich cultural traditions, was thrown into disarray. The immediate aftermath of the invasion was a time of chaos and uncertainty. The loss of life was staggering, and those who survived faced a future fraught with hardship and uncertainty. The British, having established their dominance, set about restructuring Benin society to suit their own ends. The Benin economy, once vibrant and self-sufficient, was forcibly integrated into the British colonial system. The psychological impact of the invasion was perhaps the most insidious and enduring legacy of British rule, as the Benin people were subjected to a system designed to humiliate and degrade them. In the decades that followed the invasion, Benin, like much of Africa, was drawn inexorably into the machinery of the British Empire. The kingdom, once a sovereign entity, was absorbed into the southern Nigeria protectorate, its fate now dictated from the distant shores of Britain. The British administration, though claiming to rule for the benefit of the governed, was primarily concerned with exploiting Benin's resources and maintaining order. The introduction of a Western legal system often served to further entrench British control, disregarding traditional laws and customs. Yet, even under the oppressive weight of colonial rule, the spirit of the Benin people remained unbroken. They clung to their traditions, passing down their stories, their songs, and their history from one generation to the next. The seeds of resistance, sown in the ashes of 1897, would eventually blossom into a powerful movement for independence. The British invasion of Benin in 1897 casts a long shadow over the present day. While the physical scars of the invasion may have faded with time, the psychological and emotional wounds inflicted upon the Benin people continue to resonate. The debate over the restitution of the looted Benin bronzes has gained increasing urgency in recent years. The story of Benin's destruction serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of cultural heritage and the need to protect and preserve it for future generations. By acknowledging the injustices of colonialism and their lasting impact, we can begin to build a more just and equitable future. The story of Benin is also a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, the enduring power of culture, and the unwavering determination of a people to reclaim their past and shape their own destiny. We have journeyed together through the heart of a lost kingdom, explored its triumphs and its tragedies, and confronted the enduring legacy of its destruction. The story of Benin is not an isolated incident, but a microcosm of the forces that have shaped our world, a stark reminder of the human capacity for both creation and destruction. As we reflect on the events that unfolded more than a century ago, let us remember the victims, those who lost their lives, their homes, and their cultural heritage. Let us honor their memory by striving to create a world where such injustices are consigned to the history books. If you found this exploration of Benin's past enlightening, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more journeys into the depths of history. Let us continue to learn from the past, to engage in meaningful dialogue, and to work together towards a future where every culture is respected, every voice is heard, and the mistakes of history are never repeated.